Headlines: Ukraine says ship with wheat for Ethiopia arrives. Prime Minister Abiy appoints board members for the newly established Capital Market Authority. The housekeeper that brutally killed 2 children has been sentenced to death. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Yabsran Mtekka from African Renaissance Television Services with tonight's news. Stay tuned. Housekeeper who has brutally killed 2 children has been sentenced to death. Hiwat Makonnen, who was accused of killing 2 children in a horrible way, has been sentenced to death. The verdict was given by the Federal High Court Division of Homicide and Robbery. The defendant, who has been found guilty, committed the crime on September 1, 2022 at 3:30 in the morning in Lamikura Rabsa condominium. In the house where she was employed as a domestic worker, for some unknown reason, she has killed Gionawit and Christina in a very horrible manner. After the prosecutor's office pushed for the death penalty, the accused tried to plead by saying that she has never committed a crime before. Furthermore, she also said that she surrendered to the police in peace. So she claimed that the sentence should be lightened. But the Federal High Court did not accept the defense that she has brought up. The wheat that was bound to Ethiopia from Ukraine has arrived. A ship with 25,000 tons of wheat destined for Ethiopia from Ukraine arrived in the port of Doraleh in neighboring Djibouti on Saturday. The first vessel to sail as part of the push to send food to countries most vulnerable to famine and drought. President Vladimir Zelensky said in a tweet that this vessel was the first to sail as part of a push to send food to countries most vulnerable to famine and drought. Khalib Tensai has more details.
We ship food, we ship hope. Zelensky said in a tweet accompanying a short clip of a vessel carrying 25,000 tons of wheat for Ethiopia that he said had arrived in the port of Doraleh in neighboring Djibouti. Last Saturday, Ukraine and allied nations launched an initiative to export $150 million worth of grain to Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Congo, Kenya, and Yemen. The first vessel, the Nordwind, arrived at the port of Djibouti on December 3rd. Some 25,000 tons of humanitarian wheat from Ukraine will be delivered to the residents of Ethiopia. In similar story, a representative of the German Foreign Ministry stated in a press release sent out on November 30 that in 2022 Germany has allocated 82.3 million euros to Ethiopia, making it the second biggest humanitarian donor. It was also stated in that the ship sponsored by Germany with $50 million carrying Ukrainian wheat will arrive in Djibouti in a few days.
Prime Minister Abiy appoints board members to the newly established Capital Market Authority. Just a day after appointing Dr. Bruktaye as Director General for the newly established CMA, the Prime Minister's office has appointed 6 additional members to its board. Khalib Tensai has more details.
According to the reporter, the Prime Minister appointed the Governor of the National Bank of Ethiopia, Dr. Yinager Desse, as the chairman of the board. The 6 nominees appointed to serve as members of the board are Hikmet Abdullah, Director General of the Accounting and Audit Board, Dr. Bruktaye, Director General of the Capital Markets Authority, Wandemagin Abara, Chief Executive Officer of the Ethiopian Commodity Market, Dr. Eyob Tasfaye from United Nations Capital Development Ethiopia Office, Cerebras Frontiers Vice President Tasfaye Haile Michael, and Addis Ababa University lecturer Abata Abebe. It is to be remembered that Prime Minister Abiy on November 21, 2022, appointed Dr. Bruktaye as Chief Executive Officer of Capital Markets Authority. According to the proclamation published in 2021 for the creation of the Capital Markets Authority, the Director General will have a non-voting seat. The proclamation also states that the board members are eligible to hold the seat for the next 5 years.
Oil prices increase as the cap on Russia looms. Oil prices have risen after major producers agreed to continue to cut output and the G7 and its allies agreed to cap price of Russian oil. Khalib Tensai has more details.
On Monday, the G7 group of major economies implemented a cap on the price of Russian oil at $60 a barrel. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Saturday that Russia would not accept the price ceiling, adding that it needed to analyze the situation before deciding on a specific response. Countries that do not adopt the measure can continue to buy Russian oil above the price cap, but without using Western services to acquire, insure, or transport it. A separate decision by major oil-producing countries to keep cutting how much they produce to prop up prices has also fueled the rise. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and other oil producers, including Russia, said they would continue to restrict supply by 2 million barrels per day. A policy set in October that started last month and is due to run through the end of 2023.
Protesters stormed governor's office in Sweida, Syria. The people of Syria, angry because of the worsening economic conditions, stormed the governor's office in Sweida. Eyewitnesses say the protesters set fire to the building while exchanging gunfire in Dorze major city. Khalib Tensai has more details.
The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported that a police officer was killed when protesters tried to storm the police station. A protester was shot dead when security forces entered the government building, Chief Rami Abdulrahman told the AFP news agency. Syrian state media said outlaws have stormed the governor's office and burned files and official papers. The activist media collective Sweida 24 posted images on social media that showed dozens of protesters calling for the fall of the regime as security forces stood guard outside the building. Anti-government demonstrations are rare in Syria, which President Bashar al-Assad stamped out a pro-democracy uprising more than a decade ago. Nearly 500,000 people have been killed and half the country's population have been displaced since the peaceful uprising in 2011 evolved into a bloody war.
Thousands of dead seal wash up on Russian Caspian shore. On Sunday, the RIA Novosti, a state-owned news agency of Russia, reported that approximately 2,500 endangered seals have been found dead on Russia's Caspian coast, citing authorities in the northern Caucasus region. Caspian seals are the only mammals found in the Caspian Sea and have been classified as endangered on the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List since 2008. These were the news we had for you for tonight. Once again, I'm Yapsaran Dumtakka from African Renaissance Television Services. Thank you for watching.